Welcome to the Wednesday Night Blitz. I'm Frankie Tovar.
And I'm Eddie Ruiz.
We have a very special first episode for you, chock full of pre-league highlights as we prepare for the beginning of Central California Conference play for Turlock and Pitman High.
And both teams come in with a 4-1 record, and we can't get any more excited for league to start.
Now both the Pride and Bulldogs have a very good shot at winning a league title this year, and I for one can't wait to see that race. But before we get to the CCC, let's make a detour to the Trans Valley League and Southern League, where Hilmar, Denair High, and Turlock Christian High all play in our coverage area. Now our first stop is the Trans Valley League, where Hilmar High sits atop the standings with a 6-0 record, alongside Ripon High, who's also undefeated.
Now I haven't personally got to see Hilmar High play live, but from the footage we do have, that offense and defense can't look any better.
Hilmar is ranked 223rd in the state, and so far they've outscored their opponents 229-45, which is an astronomical number. The offense is averaging 38 points a game and is led by junior quarterback Jonathan O'Brien, who beat out last year's starter Bo Balswick for the position. As for the running game, Bailey Gomes is leading with 360 yards and 4 touchdowns, and is also being helped by Chris and Kenny Camden as well as Trent Orozco. Hilmar High's offense is one of the most balanced of all the teams I've seen this season, and I for one am very excited for TVL play.
And that defense looks very impressive too.
The next stop is the Southern League, where High, Denair, and TC play. Now these teams have yet to win a league game, but High looks like the stronger of the three with an overall 3-2 record. The Hawks are led by a very strong junior class, particularly second-year quarterback Garrett Thomas.
And Thomas has been one of the most outstanding quarterbacks in the entire league.
So far, Thomas has passed for 81 yards, 3 touchdowns, and thrown only 4 interceptions, while also running for 168 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. That's a total of 8 touchdowns to the quarterback alone. As for the rushing game, JoJo Cantu has emerged as the leading rusher with 367 yards and 4 touchdowns, while being helped by Rafael Medina, who has 152 rushing yards. But the Hawks' wildcard has got to be Rico McCombs, a recent transfer from Turlock High, who has 607 all-purpose yards. That's rushing yards, kick return yards, punt return yards, and interception return yards. He also has a total of 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, McCombs was injured recently, and he might be missing some games for High.
And that will be a huge blow not only to the offensive side, but the defense, where he has made critical tackles at very key points.
He's been the last line of defense with 42 solo tackles and 1 interception for a defense that allows on average 23.4 points a game. Another Southern League team dealing with injury is Denair High, who lost 3 of his top starters early in the season.
Now Denair comes in averaging about 10 points per game, but that defense has struggled, allowing over 48 points per game.
Now an upside for Denair is that quarterback Dominic Silva and wide receiver Weston Fair have established very good chemistry in the passing game and have been racking up some good yards as of late. And I know Denair's been struggling, but I predict they get at least 1 victory before season's end.
Now I also believe that Turlock Christian can come away with the victory.
Now TC's problems haven't been with injuries, but they've been with numbers. They haven't had a lot of people come out this year for the team, and those who did were very inexperienced.
There have been some bright spots, however. Quarterback Jason Sherrill and running back Malik Portillo have been some of the upsides, as they have both racked up over 300 yards on the ground while putting up 3 touchdowns each. Now they have amassed over 694 yards in 4 games on the ground, and that is something to look forward to.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for, the CCC. Turlock and Pitman High are both 4-1 and both have a very good chance at taking a league title this year. Turlock enters as the 248th ranked team in the state and have outscored their opponents 120 to 117, with 2 wins coming by way of 1 point, and those were against Oakdale and Modesto High. And not only were those 1-point victories, Eddie, they were also 4th quarter victories. Very tight wins. Now Turlock's offense is averaging 24 points a game and is led by a 3rd-year quarterback, Sean Downs, who has passed for 611 yards and 6 touchdowns and thrown only 2 interceptions, while also running for 348 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The running game is led by Javon Hogan, who has 418 yards and 4 touchdowns, and is also aided by Bubba Moreno and Andrew Lopez, who have 347 yards and 3 touchdowns and 229 yards and 2 touchdowns respectively.
And the running game has been a key point to their success.
Absolutely, but the Dogs can also pass the ball. Downs' favorite targets have been his tight ends, Patrick Green and Jacob Mady. Green, the 42nd ranked tight end and 118th overall player in California, has nabbed 3 touchdowns with 157 yards, while Mady has also nabbed 3 touchdowns with 69 yards. Other notes of interest regarding Turlock's offense is that they come out to a very strong start in the 1st and 2nd quarters and tend to fade towards the end. Their overall rushing stats are 1,124 yards, and their overall passing stats are 661.
Now the offense has been very good. The defense has struggled at times.
They've been a little inconsistent, allowing an average of 23 points a game. And just like the offense, they tend to fade in the second half. Now on the upside, Eddie, Turlock is coming off a bye week, and I know their defensive coordinator has been making some good adjustments to strengthen that defensive unit for league.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
Now our last stop is Pitman High, who has arguably the most exciting and explosive offensive attacks of any teams this season.
Talk about an offensive surge. They have put up over 48 points per game while racking up 1,780 yards on the ground.
The Pride's biggest weapon has got to be their depth.
And with their depth comes a lot of running backs as well. Drew Lewis and Logan Wolfley together have combined for over 1,000 yards rushing while averaging over 10 yards per carry.
I also understand they have some power and physicality in that backfield, Eddie.
Mario Lewis has been that guy, taking the most carries for the team so far this year with 65 while racking up 330 plus yards on the ground.
Now what about that passing game?
Wyatt Clapper has been known to be consistent and efficient when he's needed, going 24 for 46 with 579 yards over the air, 8 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. Pitman High's offense has been able to put up 60 plus points in 3 of their 5 games while averaging just over 350 yards on the ground.
That's very impressive, Eddie, but I understand their defensive unit is equally as impressive.
Pittman relies heavily on that defensive line for their defensive success, and that came with Eric Bergeron, Josh Vercelli, and Nick Roditis anchoring that line.
Now, this Friday, we'll be covering Pittman as they host Buhat Colony High in the league opener. Other games this Friday include Turlock at Merced, Hilmar vs. Riverbank, Del High vs. Gustine, Denair vs. Mariposa, and Turlock Christian at Ripon Christian High. Now, be sure to join us next Wednesday and every Wednesday after that at 7 p.m. for the Wednesday Night Blitz. Brady Ruiz, I'm Frankie Tovar. Good night.